Running up the score.
Jerry Napoleonello.
The Cowboys made 2 mistakes in the last 3 years. One was letting Dak take over for Romo and not having Romo come back in. And 2 was releasing Des Bryant.
Superstition, screw that. Let's pick this bad boy up and walk it around the ice.
Kevin Donlin.
The NFL, like every league, is a business. And in a business, you have a job. And let me tell you something. You always have a boss. No matter who you are, you have a boss when you're in the organization. The New York Jets, you know what they need to do with their second round pick? They need to just start taking it and lighting it up on fire.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Join in on the conversation by calling in at 605-562-7085. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
All right, it's time to run up the score. Running Up the Score podcast on SportsCastr Live and all the other streaming sites that we're on. It's a big week in sports. First of all, I had there was a tweet that I liked, just basically breaking down everything that's going on this week. We got the Masters this week. The NHL Playoffs start this week. We had the NCAA Championship last night. I mean, everything's going on. The draft lottery for the NHL is tonight, too. We have the numbers on that, on the odds for that. So, we'll give you that later on. Before we get into everything, SeatGiant.com. Type in RUTS Sports to save on tickets. We got all the playoff games going on. So, if you want to buy tickets to go to a playoff game, like I'm going to Game 2 of the Islanders, go to SeatGiant.com. Type in RUTS Sports. You'll save on tickets. So, going right into it. Again, kind of like last week, how we said we had a plan. We had a plan going into it.
Yep.
And it just drastically changes. So the plan was going into this that we were going to talk NHL playoffs because the playoffs start tomorrow. First game, for everything starts tomorrow. But then this whole thing happens. We got, trigger fingers with, Twitter. Or we should call them Twitter fingers.
Yep.
Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not saying that Juju actually had anything, bad to say, because it started off with Antonio Brown. So basically, this whole thing started off. A fan tweeted out a picture of Juju Smith-Schuster saying that he won MVP of the Steelers. It's a team MVP. So right off the bat, Antonio Brown answers back. And this is it, quote, emotion. Boy fumbled the whole postseason in the biggest game of the year. Everyone went blind to busy making guys famous. Not enough reality these days. By the way, check the list. There was no reason for that.
No.
Because now you're not just coming at a guy, by, character, or like you're going by his play as well. Like, the guy makes a livelihood, playing football. You really think that he was happy that he fumbled the ball? Meanwhile, it wasn't really in the postseason, but that's not here nor there. I mean, we're not even going to go there. Just the fact that, you actually have to go out of your way. You just made a big contract. You were traded. You have nothing to do with the Steelers anymore. I don't even know why, guys, are, coming out of his mouth from the Steelers. There's no reason for it. I mean, it first started off, he had stuff to say about Ben Roethlisberger, which, listen, I've heard multiple stories about Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe he's not a good guy. I don't know. I'm not in that locker room, but he's not the first guy to say it. Le'Veon Bell came out and said stuff about him too. So I'm not really going towards that, but I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, what has the guy done? The guy hasn't done anything to you. He's been nothing but nice about you leaving the team, you quitting on the team. He didn't say anything like that. Not like your other teammates said. But because he's starting to get the spotlight, in Pittsburgh, you have to rain on his parade, I guess.
I think it goes more for, you read the tweet more closely, and I think it's like kind of a jab more for Ben Roethlisberger, saying too busy making people famous.
Yeah.
Now, I think in that perspective, we finally learned the true story as to the pose to Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger. And the story was that Antonio Brown clearly was not a fan of Smith-Schuster getting as many targets as he would get on a day-to-day basis, or week-to-week, I should say. Maybe in practice as well. There was a lot more that went into this that was not public, of course. But there was no doubt that Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger did not like each other anymore. It had been a big story for a while. Everyone was hearing this and that and this and that about these two just not seeing eye to eye. And I think the basis of that was the fact that Ben Roethlisberger got this ball and spread the ball out a lot. And it did not make Antonio Brown the vocal point anymore. Now, Ben Roethlisberger is making Smith-Schuster famous right now. But he also made Antonio Brown famous as well. And it's showing that Ben Roethlisberger is a tremendous talent and has been able to make receivers. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't great players, but he's found a way to make these great players unbelievable. Because we've talked about the seasons that Antonio Brown has had. They're unique, and just no player has ever done the things that Antonio Brown's been able to do. And Ben Roethlisberger got on the ball every single time with that. I think what it shows here is that there was so much talent with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the past couple of seasons. There's no doubt about it. But it makes you wonder, where's the trade-off from the talent to the kind of person you are and how you're going to be perceived in the locker room and how you're going to project yourself within the locker room. And Antonio Brown clearly is not that kind of player that is a, I guess, quote-unquote, good teammate. And this shows it more than anything. Now, of course, he might have kept this quiet from the media. Clearly, there was a view of Smith-Schuster that bothers this man. Yeah. And, you're not on this team anymore. You play for the Oakland Raiders now. You're not in Pittsburgh anymore.
You got a beautiful contract.
You got a great contract. You need to move on with your life and not let things like this bother you. I don't know why it would even bother a random person, let alone a star. And someone that, obviously this kid looked up to you.
Well,
and we talk about that.
This could be the reason. Okay, so Antonio Brown at the age of 22 in the season. 19 targets, 167 yards, no touchdowns, 1 fumble. Juju Smith-Schuster's age 22 season, 166 targets, 1,426 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 fumble. That 1 fumble is the one that Antonio Brown is talking about, first off. Now, the thing with this, Juju he doesn't clap back. Like, this is the time that a guy could come back at him and say, whatever he wants to do. Because I am sure there is plenty of stories, plenty of blackmail that Juju Smith-Schuster could have on Antonio Brown. He could have came out with one easy little line that nobody else knows about, and that would be headline news. But he doesn't do that. And that just shows the character of Juju Smith-Schuster. He just says, keep your emotions off the internet. Then he proceeds to say, all I ever did was show that man love and respect from the moment I got to the league. I was genuinely happy for him, too, when he got traded to Oakland with a big contract. And now he takes shots at me on social media. Crazy how big that ego got to be to take shots at people who show you love. Shaking my head. Then Antonio Brown comes out, which I don't know what he was trying to do, but before that, actually, Juju Smith-Schuster tweeted out a Mark Twain quote saying, "Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference." 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it's a great point.
It's a great quote. But then, I don't know where Antonio Brown was going with this. I think it actually made Antonio Brown look worse and made Juju Smith-Schuster look better. And I tweeted out the picture of this, of the post that Antonio Brown put on Instagram. And I just basically said, imagine being so insecure that you actually have to, take a picture of a direct message that Juju sent him while he was in college to make himself better. And basically, Juju Smith-Schuster DM'd Antonio Brown when he was still at USC and said, "What's up, AB? I'm a receiver at the University of Southern California. I appreciate all your work. You're a great man on and off the field." That's questionable now. "Do you have any tips that can help me take my game to the next level? Thanks, man." Is that bad? Like, is it like, are you trying to make him look like
weak?
Yeah, like I don't.
And that's funny,
I don't understand it.
We've talked about this, where in these professional sports that you can't really be perceived as a weak person, and you got to be strong at all times. And the successful ones are the strong ones, mentally, physically, in every regard. But right here, yeah, you're right. It absolutely made Antonio Brown look even worse, and it just shows the kind of teammate, and you really just. There's no room in a locker room for a teammate like that. And clearly there's, this is how he is, because he has been in the NFL for a very long time. And, clearly, there was issues beyond belief. Yeah. And it's funny because you bring up the whole, I'm not sure if you were able to pull up the Le'Veon Bell, James Conner exchange. I just pulled it up. And I think it's absolutely amazing that this was, because this is the kind of teammate you need to be. I mean, and growing up and playing these sports, you have to be a teammate like that. And it's always a teammate first, especially in the team sports. You want to go play a round of golf, it's all about you, and it's understandable. But you go out to play a game like football or baseball, the game is way bigger than you.
Way bigger.
As just a single player.
Especially
the game will always be bigger.
Especially football. Football is the prime example of a team sport. I mean, even again, there's no debating at this point. But between what sport is more team, but just in general. No, yeah, I'm not debating it. I'm just saying, just altogether, you're not going to get it done by yourself. I mean,
of course not.
Let's be serious. Aaron Rodgers is probably the most talented quarterback that we've seen in God knows how long.
Yep.
But it's one Super Bowl in 10 years, and. They missed the playoffs. It's just, it's a team sport. And you know what? This could have went literally, it shows the kind of character that James Conner is as well, because it's you know what? A lot of people perceived Le'Veon Bell as quitting on the team because he didn't get his way. He didn't play a whole season.
It wasn't just one team. It wasn't one teammate talking bad about Le'Veon Bell.
No, not at all. Mike Pouncey came out and said stuff about him.
Absolutely.
So there was plenty of people that came out about him. And then just basically, this whole thing that was going on with Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, or I should just mainly say it was Antonio Brown that was really the problem in this whole thing. But James Conner actually texted Le'Veon Bell, who's on a new team now. And just said, "What's up, bro? Just reaching out. Social media got dudes acting crazy, and it got me thinking, you were always a real one. Never talked bad about anybody and was always solid. I appreciate that. Congrats on the new deal. You weathered the storm and came out stronger. Like you always say, all positive vibes. Do your thing, Brody." So,
And Le'Veon Bell wound up.
I kind of got the chills a little bit.
Le'Veon Bell wound up tweeting that out, did he not?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And his caption.
Those are the attitudes I want in my locker room. If I'm a head coach, I want those attitudes in my locker room. You got to be brothers in this situation.
Exactly.
You're going to win a championship as brothers.
That's what he says here. He's like, I usually don't post private conversations, but this text just hit me so differently. I love you to death, bro. At James Conner. Hashtag all positive vibes. Now,
which is amazing.
with Le'Veon Bell now, this is a side note. This maybe nobody ever really noticed it while they were looking. The dude's got 1,021 text messages as he hasn't read yet. Did we not notice that? What's going on?
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I didn't even look. I didn't even look at something that obnoxious.
Not to mention, and also he's in military time too, which is kind of interesting too. And I think he tweeted out about it because someone questioned it. But that's just me being weird. But just altogether, this is kind of something that we wanted to talk about, just because last week was that whole umpire thing and just craziness, and now you got two teammates that were supposed to be really close. They're in the same commercial together. I think it was it's just Antonio Brown being jealous that he actually had to share the spotlight with another player that was younger. And
again, I think it feeds right back to Antonio Brown's hatred for Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin. Yeah. Because there's hatred on both of those sides. And I think that might have been the basis of it. I think that conversation might have happened in the locker room before, where, obviously Antonio Brown had come to the head coach and maybe Ben Roethlisberger with his frustrations as to why he wasn't getting the ball as much. And obviously this young kid from Southern California is now the negative feedback from it. Yeah. Listen, bro, if you have a problem with an individual success, point the finger elsewhere. You pointed the finger at so many different people on the basis of this. Yeah. And you just really need to move on. You're on a new team. Just do me a favor, man. Don't hate Derek Carr like this. Don't hate John Gruden like this. Be a good teammate. That's all you can ask. And that's just, that goes on the basis of, listen, a guy could be super talented. Antonio Brown is a very talented individual, but you need to be that kind of person in the locker room too. You just got to have that personality, and it can't be a negative one. The one that Antonio Brown has shown on social media, and by the way, between you and me, that social media comment that he had made regarding, got people crazy. It ain't just professional players. It's a whole bunch of people out there where social media is affecting people.
It was funny because while I was setting up for the show and I wanted to get everything kind of ready with the quotes and, the tweets and everything, and I was on Antonio Brown's Twitter, and he posted something today saying that he was kind of just signing off, and he wasn't going to let media heads ruin his name or whatever, something like that. It's like, dude, you're ruining your own name. But moving on now, we spoke about Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster going to the NHL playoffs. But before we get to the playoffs, I want to talk about, because we got the lottery tonight. Obviously the NHL lottery is not as big as, the NBA lottery. But tonight...
It's big this year.
There's a playoff team that has the best percentage of getting the number one pick. And that's the Colorado Avalanche. They got this pick from the Ottawa Senators. Their percentage is 18.5. to get the first pick. Then you have the Los Angeles Kings at 13.5. It's crazy. We've said it. There was two teams that, they drafted well. They put a great team together around a young core and won Stanley Cups. And now both of those teams are in the lottery talk here with the Los Angeles Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks. Both teams are in lottery talks here.
And where are the Blackhawks now?
Blackhawks are fourth from the bottom. They're 2.5. Huh. But you got the Kings 13.5, Devils 11.5, Red Wings 9.5, Sabres 8.5, Rangers 7.5, Edmonton Oilers 6.5. They had a little scare with Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're not a playoff team, but it's whatever.
Who's after that?
Ducks 6, Canucks 5, Flyers 3.5, Wild 3, Blackhawks 2.5, Florida 2, Arizona 1.5, and Montreal 1.
See, now I go back to what you were just saying right in the middle of the reading off of that, and I'm saying on that basis, this is what I've talked about, where hockey is one of those sports where, obviously no one picked the New York Islanders to go where they went. Yeah. And obviously it's because hockey is such a close-range sport. Mistakes come and go. And a lot of teams, their players might make a lot of mistakes that season, or they might not.
You could turn something around very quick.
Absolutely.
I mean, just
in the
look
game
at
of
it.
hockey. And it's the same thing with almost every sport. You just got to be hot. You got to have a great season. Things got to be going right for you.
The Islanders, I mean, altogether, the Islanders went from giving up the most goals in the league last year to giving up the least amount of goals. The first time it's ever happened in NHL history. Okay? Twice?
It's happened twice.
So it was
It was
really
the second
long ago.
time,
So
but no, it was the
basically-
first time in 100 years.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so
which is pretty obnoxious.
you know what? I was listening to Frankie Borelli on
100
Barstool,
years.
and he said, so that.
I'm pretty
that
sure
little,
they said they're the
that
second
little
team to
mess
ever
up.
have that.
Yeah, I now that you said that 100 years, yeah, that is very true.
It's a long time.
That is, it happens, every 100 years. So
It just shows that a lot can go into the game of hockey, and that's what
Absolutely.
makes this time of year so amazing, folks. Playoff hockey is it's a different game,
yeah,
and I've seen it over and over again. In the NHL regular season, you'll get penalties, and they really do let them play come playoff time.
Listen, they
let
nothing-
them play. It's a very physical game. It's fun to watch. It really is very fun to watch. I'm a big fan of the NHL playoffs, and obviously we're starting up, tomorrow.
Every year, I say the same thing on the show. Every year, this is the best playoffs in sports. And I'll argue to the cows come home. Because there's nothing like playoff hockey. There's nothing like it.
Nope.
I mean, just everything. The drama, the physicality. It's funny because I'm listening to the last game of the season between the Capitals and the Islanders. And I just so happen to be in the car, so I have Sirius Radio, and I'm listening to the Capitals call. And they were actually hoping that they weren't going to see the Islanders in the playoffs. This is exactly what they said. They don't want to see the Islanders in the playoffs because of the physicality that they bring to the ice every game.
And clearly, come playoff time, the one factor of hockey that really makes a big impact
It's physicality.
is, yes, exactly. And, being able to, go through that it's almost 2 months. 2 full months. It's a very long time, the NHL playoffs. It might be even a little longer than that.
Yeah.
And, I've talked about it over before, and, I heard the best quote ever from Wayne Gretzky when it comes to the NHL playoffs, and it actually refers to the New York Islanders. And he said he remembers losing to the New York Islanders in the Stanley Cup final. It was a grueling series, obviously, and Wayne Gretzky is the best player to ever play hockey. There's no changing that. The game was a lot different. He was well protected, but he did what he wanted, and he was one of the best. And he remembers going back to his dressing room, and he had to pass the Islanders' dressing room on the way to his. It's the path it had. And he said that instead of seeing this team that had just won the Stanley Cup, which is the reason why you play in the NHL, is to win that cup. And he said they all sat there and iced up, made sure they were healthy. There's a big picture here, folks. You want to make sure you're still healthy to go play another season. They had just won their 4th cup in a row. And it's just an amazing story. It just shows you that, these players go through a lot.
Absolutely.
Hockey players really do go through a grueling postseason if they really want to make it to the end.
I can only imagine how a hockey player feels after
Not even cheering, not
a Stanley Cup
not
run.
champagne,
No,
icing.
that's-
Quiet. He said it was so quiet. He's like, I expected it to be super loud.
By the way, the Islanders are the first team since 1917, the Ottawa Senators, to go from worst to first.
Ottawa Senators were the other team?
Yeah.
They said it happened only once before.
Yeah. So, the other thing with,
1917, they didn't have this many teams in the league either. So
yeah. So basically, we're gonna get right into the Islanders series first, but I have the odds to win the Stanley Cup too. The Lightning have the best odds to win. Yeah, basically. I mean, it's kind of stupid to really get into that, but just overall, I mean, we kind of knew Tampa Bay was going to have that. They're at 2-1. Boston is second with 9-1, and then we have then you have the Capitals, Flames, Sharks, Predators, Golden Knights, Penguins, Blues, Jets, Maple Leafs, Hurricanes, Islanders, Avalanche, Blue Jackets, and Stars.
The Islanders are back at the bottom.
So this was a great tweet that I saw just kind of going into the Islanders. Chris Boda from the NHL, he tweeted out, Isles gave up an NHL worst 296 goals last season and an NHL best 191 this season. Lost Tavares, added Leonard, a reborn Filppula, more grinders, and some new coaches led by the next Jack Adams Award winner. An outstanding achievement worthy of a lot of attention. I mean, they do like this is like a Cinderella story. Being that we're talking about March Madness, the last couple of weeks, this is a Cinderella story right here with the New York Islanders, and it's just doubt that has been all over the Islanders since losing Tavares, and
But I don't
years
really,
of doubt.
I don't mind it. I've
either.
never really minded being the underdog because I think it makes for a greater story if they win it all. And I'll be honest, I've been an Islander fan for a very long time.
Listen, we've been through a lot.
We've dealt with a lot. We're Yankee fans, so it makes it a lot. It's not too bad because
I'm also
got some
a Cowboys
success
fan.
somewhere.
I'm also a Cowboys fan.
You're
so
on your own with that one. And look, Jets,
that's heartbreaking as well. I mean, at least you guys suck no matter what. And you don't have to have the expectations. But as a Cowboys fan, the expectations are so high, and it's just you're dug into the ground by the end of the season.
You're basically like what the Patriots are, but like you try to do it, but you just don't.
No.
Yeah. At least the Jets, you know what I mean? They have excuses.
But again, the probability for this Islanders Penguins series. Meanwhile, Islanders. Hey, they haven't had home ice in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Before I was born.
Yeah, same here, man. I was just seeing that the other day. I'm like, since I've been born, I'm 30, and they've never had a home ice advantage until this season.
I've never seen
say
them
what
with
you
home
want.
ice.
Hate on this team all you want. Thank you for that. I absolutely appreciate that. It's really nice to feel. Forget a cup.
Yeah.
Forget winning the Stanley Cup right now for a second. Getting home ice.
We get an extra game.
I mean, ever since I can remember, the New York Islanders have won a playoff position on the last game of the season.
Yeah.
It was no ifs, ands, or buts, which I remember saying to a friend of mine.
There was a question at the
I had said it to a friend of mine. I
season.
said to him, I was like, I don't understand, what it feels like to clinch a playoff spot in hockey, way in advance.
Before the season ended, yeah.
Yeah, and having these last couple of games for the Islanders, like we saw 3 or 4 games, which really isn't much.
No, it's not.
And,
but like I said, home ice was still dwindling at the end of the season, the last game of the season. So it's not like, we wiped out the competition. No. I mean, they had a very solid win against the Capitals. You know what? I wouldn't mind playing the Capitals. I think the Islanders match up very well against the Capitals. The only problem playing the Capitals and even playing the Penguins in this series is the power play. Yeah. That's the one scary thing when it comes to the Islanders that I'm worried about is their power play. They've also struggled with penalty killing as well. I'm hoping in the playoffs it ramps up.
That's what shows how good they've really been because they've had one of the worst power plays and one of the worst penalty kills. It shows that the success on 5-on-5 has been very, very good for the New York Islanders. There's no debating it. I don't care what numbers you're even going to look at in front of you right now, but there's no doubt in my mind the Islanders have been a very successful team on 5-on-5. And that is something that come playoff time, that's what counts.
This season,
there ain't no shootouts in playoffs.
No.
There's no 3-on-3.
No.
all-star game format. No, this is 5-on-5. It's the game of hockey, and I can't wait to watch it.
This season, the Islanders and the Penguins, they tied the season series 2-2, and they were pretty much almost identical. I mean, first game of the season against the Islanders were on the road. They beat the Penguins 6-3. Then the next one, they're playing home. They win 3-2 in a shootout. Then the next game, they're away. Pittsburgh wins 6-2. Then the Penguins are on the road, and they win 2-1 in a shootout. So it's been basically identical when it comes down to the Penguins and the Islanders in recent matchups.
The only thing you could take from that is that the New York Islanders have dropped the last 2 games to Pittsburgh, and that could be a mental thing. As a Pittsburgh fan, I would go into that, being you got momentum.
Yeah.
You have the mental edge, and it definitely is a thing in hockey. When you saw this team last, they beat you. There's no doubt about it. And that's in your head as you're playing them the next game. It's always been a thing.
They have that noon Sunday game.
Momentum, baby.
That's
Momentum is so big in hockey.
So,
it's
absolutely.
It's really arguably more important in hockey than any other sport.
Game 1 is tomorrow in Nassau Coliseum. Game 2 is Friday. I'll be there. It's at the Coliseum as well. Game 3, Pittsburgh, noon on Sunday. And then we have a game on Tuesday, game 4, Pittsburgh, and so on is, if necessary, with the star next to it.
Of course.
So I'm excited for this. I can't wait to rock the barn on Friday. So I'm excited about that. But we'll move on to the next series.
Well, who are you picking?
I can't pick this. I can't pick this series.
I'm picking the Islanders. Are you kidding me?
Dude, you know me. I don't even pick the Cowboy game, so let's move on. We got Boston and Toronto. Oh, I would love to play Toronto. But we can't play Toronto until
who you like?
We make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's funny, the old format, and let me just throw this out there. The old format for the NHL playoffs.
We would have played Toronto.
Absolutely, with home ice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
just throwing that in there.
Go figure.
I'm going to go with Boston in 6, folks. It's not even making 7. They can't play defense. They did play last time.
I'm going to go with my heart here because I just don't want Boston to win. And Boston won the season series 3-1.
They're very good. They play Islanders hockey, but better.
Yeah, I don't want to face the Bruins. I would rather face the offensive-heavy Toronto Maple Leafs. So I'm going to go with Toronto in 6.
That's just a heart pick right there.
That's a heart pick.
Don't worry. They got to go do Tampa still, too.
No,
and I don't think anyone's beating Tampa unless the Islanders pull off a miracle.
We beat up on Tampa Bay.
No, we can stop them.
We can.
No, absolutely. I'm a big fan of them. The Islanders, listen, the Islanders are my number 1 to win it all. Come on.
So we got Tampa Bay, as we were just saying, against Columbus. This, I'm going to go 5. I'm going Tampa Bay in 5.
Sweep.
You're going sweep? Wow.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You got it. Like I'm giving a little bit of faith in
Columbus
Bobrovsky.
has not played well since they had all these Ottawa guys.
Bobrovsky is still a very good goaltender. So then we got the Capitals and the Hurricanes. Series probability 50.1 to 49.9 in the Capitals' favor. They really think this is that close?
I actually love Carolina to win this series, and I love the way they play hockey. They throw pucks at the net, and let me tell you, there's a known fact in hockey.
Whoever wins this series is playing the Islanders.
Absolutely, and the Islanders would have a hard time with them, too. It was funny because as the playoffs projected, they were talking about Pittsburgh and obviously Carolina potentially switching. I did not want that as an Islander fan because Carolina will throw 50 shots at net.
Yeah.
They will enter the zone and throw the puck in the net, and good things happen when you throw the puck to the net. Many times.
What a bunch of jerks.
I don't mind the celebrating and all that stuff.
I love it.
It's not even an issue of mine. I would not look for, and I'm picking Carolina to win that, but I'm going to go with 7 because Washington is no pushover whatsoever.
I'm going with Washington in 7 as well, and only because they have home ice. So then we move on to
the weak conference or the Western Conference, which is something I never thought I would say. The Western Conference really is just dropped, and the Eastern Conference has just gone up more and more as the seasons have progressed.
It's funny, previous years, I've always said, I like watching Western Conference hockey. I mean, you had a lot of teams that played very physical. Like the Western Conference, I always kind of
big bodies.
Yeah,
man. That's what it's all about. You got to be able to push your. How do you stop speed in football? You hit it hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what you need to do in hockey. It's the same concept.
And that's what I was saying.
That's how you stop the speedy guys.
It was always, I always considered the Western Conference physical, the Eastern Conference elusive.
Well, I think it still considers that.
I think it is, but I think those big guys in the Western Conference are starting to get a little older.
That's what happens.
So Calgary Flames, Colorado Avalanche. Colorado Avalanche have the best probability to get the number 1 pick in the draft this year. Maybe Jack Hughes.
This is going to be a tough series for both teams. This is going to be one of the best series in the entire first round. There's no doubt in my mind it's got to go 7. I mean, these two teams are very good.
So
I can't even pick a winner. I'll be honest. It's very tough to make a decision here. I'm probably going to go Calgary, but this is no pushover.
The probability here goes also by games. So, they have altogether the whole series, it's 63.8 Calgary, 36.2 Colorado. Then it goes by games. So 4 games. It's 9% for Calgary, 4% for, Colorado, 19 in Game 5, 18 in Game 6, 18 in Game 7. So it's somewhat close altogether. I think this could go 6 or 7. I'm going to go because of the best player in this series. I'm going to go Nathan McKinnon, so I'm going to go Colorado.
You're going against me?
I am going to go
respect.
Against you.
I said it's a very, very tough series to call.
Yeah. So then we're going to move on, and I think the next one is San Jose in Vegas. So Vegas does their whole little, hoorah before, the games like they always do.
Wow, this isn't easy either. I'm gonna go with.
This is a tough
I'm gonna
series.
go with San Jose in about 6, but that's because I just think Vegas is a good team, but San Jose's on a mission right now, and I think it's one of the last few seasons they have an opportunity to try to do something here, and I've always been a fan of them over there. That's literally where it comes down to.
like San Jose in this. They were struggling leading into the playoffs. I mean, they went on I think it was like
it's not a fun feeling.
I think it was like an 8 or 9 game losing streak that they were on. So it wasn't just a slump. Like this was a significant slump for San Jose.
So they're due to win.
The fact that they still, made it to the playoffs is, credit to what they did, in the season. But Fleury has played
for
well. The series is tied 2-2 in this, during the season, and the Vegas games have been blowouts. The San Jose games have been tight.
Well,
so
tight games. That means in tight situations, San Jose knows how to play better. That's simple.
I'm going to go underdogs then. I'm still going to go underdogs. I'm going to go against you. I'm going Vegas Golden Knights.
Thanks for throwing that one in there before.
Yeah, of course. So then the next one. Nashville against the Dallas Stars. So
Nashville.
Yeah, this I think as I said, the odds
in 5
to win. Dallas was last, and I'm going to say Nashville. I'll give Dallas another win. I'll go 6. You go 6?
Yeah.
Right. And then what is this? The last one?
Yeah.
The Winnipeg Jets against the St. Louis Blues. 54.2 Jets. 45.8.
I took the Blues to win in 7 in this one.
I think the Blues.
I think the Blues just have the experience. It's that simple.
I'm gonna go Blues in 6. You like that?
Just to be that guy, huh?
Yeah. You know what? I didn't want to agree with you. Too much.
It's tough. But this is what I'm just going by what I picked on my bracket challenge, folks. These are the things I picked. I'm pretty sure this is what I picked.
Yeah. So I mean, if you got at least a few more hours to do the bracket challenge,
absolutely
playoffs,
fill one out. It can't hurt.
I mean, it's fun. Why not? You
win $1 million if you win it all.
You
cool.
just got done with the NCAA championship, which was a great game last night.
Absolutely.
I didn't watch a second of the
I did, and
game.
it was honestly some of the best defense I had ever seen in a championship game. I know the scoring was very high, but the overtime was played into it. A lot of guys made a lot of great shots, but just the interior defense was amazing on both sides, and it was actually a really, really fun game to watch.
redemption? I mean, is there
a
better?
Just got knocked out by a 16 seed. Go on and win it all. That's how you prove everybody wrong next year.
Is there a better story? Like that
right
kind
now?
of
No,
story,
absolutely
redemption story in sports? I mean,
No.
I don't even think, when you look back at, different
You didn't want to
sporting
be known
events,
as the school that get knocked out,
No.
the only number 1 seed.
to lose to a 16 seed in the first round of
And the only way you kind of,
the tournament.
weather the storm would be to win the national championship. And that's exactly what Virginia
That's what they did.
Credit to the players and the coaches. A great job.
Kyle Guy was that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I didn't watch any of the game. Work is kicking my ass.
I understand.
So.
Bro. It happens to all of us. Don't worry.
Kevin's itching to get off this chair and get home so he could, sleep because work is kicking his ass too. So, we're gonna end the show here. We'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully, we'll have smiles on our faces. Because the Islanders play tomorrow. So the nerves are kicking in. The nerves are definitely kicking in, especially for Islander fans that don't see much of the Islanders in the playoffs. I mean, actually, lately,
I'm just genuinely excited.
I'm excited too. I love
to watch playoff
I
hockey
love
with the
playing
Islanders
Pittsburgh.
involved.
Love playing Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I love it.
No, let's see what happens. I'll love it if they win tomorrow.
Thursday, hopefully we have a smile on our face. Go to cgiant.com, type in RUTS Sports for tickets. As I said, playoffs are now. Get some playoff tickets. cgiant.com, type in RUTS Sports. You'll save on tickets. We'll be back on Thursday. Oh, and get ready. I mean, we're getting ready for this NFL draft show, April 25th. Be ready. I would love to take phone calls. If anybody's got any, predictions, if you have anything, if you want to rip our mock draft, you let us know. I will
Anything you want.
I will take the phone call. You curse, I hang up. Sorry, but that's about it.
Not even a warning.
No, there's no warning. I mean, we had some idiots call in a couple of times that we had to take a step back and be like, "Yo."
Yeah, of course.
You're right.
That happens to everyone. Happens
Yeah.
to Francesco all the time. It's actually quite amusing.
Yeah, but that's on. We don't have a producer screening our calls. He's got guys screening the calls, and you're still
sneaking a couple in.
Like that's just
credit to the fan.
That's a problem. But that will do it. Thursday we'll be back, and we won't have the show Saturday. Hopefully Sunday. We'll see what the deal is. We apologize for not having our full show. We're only having half-hour shows here. But
we'll get back on track.
Yeah, we'll figure it out after that. But this is it. We're done. Have fun watching the NHL Playoffs tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's it. I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
Be breezy.
Be breezy.
And it is all over! You've been listening to Running Up the Score on SportsCastr Live. We run up the score on sports radio. For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.